wa amani.
Back. Yeah, this is a song nataka tuimbe pamoja. Hapo unajua wimbo tushangilie Kenya. Unajua wimbo? You know it? They will teach you. Welcome. Alright, let us all stand up and do this song together, ladies and gentlemen. With the leadership of Kyle. Karibuni sana kila mtu simama. Thank you. If you're proud to be a Kenyan, wherever you are, stand up. Jivunie kuwa Mkenya, si ndio? Yeah, jivunie kuwa Mkenya. One nation, one pride, one love. We love you all. Let's sing together. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu. Kenya tunayoipenda. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu. Kenya tunayoipenda. Kenya yetu tunayoipenda. Tujivunie sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Tujivunie sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Kenya makao yetu ni nchi ya usalama, kamwe hatutaiacha. Kenya makao yetu ni nchi ya usalama, kamwe hatutaiacha. kwa watu wote. Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote. Haki kwa watu wote. Na ukipenda Kenya ujitenge na mambo yenye kuvunja amani. Ukipenda Kenya ujitenge na mambo yenye kuvunja amani. Hatutaki matata Kenya. Wakenya oye! Haya, tuko tayari Kenya? Now let's try this together. Haya, tuko tayari. Very simple to say like Kenya kipenzi chetu. Yuko say tunaiacha milele na milele. Sing along. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaiacha daima na milele. Sing along. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Ni mama yangu tena ni baba yangu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya yetu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Hapa wote wananchi wa Kenya kutumikia Kenya daima na milele. Kati ya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele. Kenya yetu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele na milele.
In the political process of Kenya. So, very quickly, I just want to ask the political parties that are represented here today. Let's start with Chama Cha Baba Now. Do we have KANU around? Members of KANU? Anybody representing KANU? KANU? Okay. Do we have ODM represented? ORPP, political parties. They're away, so we wait for them. All right. Well, once they come, we'll recognize them wherever they are. Moving on swiftly, as I said, I want to recognize the presence of our guests. We will know them. Our chief guest, the Honorable Attorney General Emeritus, is here with us. The Professor Kikumigai is here. The Registrar of all the political parties is here with us, Madam Handiritu, and other guests who are here. Hans Seidel Foundation, represented here. Are you here? Madam Pikidu. Or should I have said ORPP, are you present? You're shy. All right. So I want to call the Assistant Registrar, Ali Abdullah Surah to come and give us kind of an opening remark so that we get on with the program. Karibu sana.
Our chief guest, Honorable Professor Gidu Migai, our invited guests, registrar, political parties, honorable leadership of the political parties here present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This morning we are very happy to have you here for honoring our invitation and to celebrate with us the milestones that this office has achieved, as you have always celebrated with us. This is one of the many milestones that the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties has met, and this is possible because of the support of each and every one of you. We are meeting here today to launch 3 very important documents, which is going to help this country in improving its governance, also going to help it in terms of improving citizens' participation in governance in this country. We are going to launch the Kenya's Political Education Sourcebook, checklist for political party agents, as well as a quick guide for political party agents. As you know, we are preparing for the general elections, which is going to be on 9th of August, and this is part of the preparation towards having a credible general election. We want to appreciate our partners who have supported us through this journey, not only in this activity, but many other activities of the office. And particularly, we want to appreciate Hans Sidel Foundation, who have given us immense support in the production of the source book. We also want to appreciate the National Democratic Institute, NDI, and which is represented here by the country director, Mr. Dennis Omondi. We really appreciate the support that you've given the office. We also want to appreciate ILO, that's the Election Observation Group, here represented by the National Coordinator, Mule Musau. We also want to appreciate the Council of Governors, who are very important players in the governance of this country and in the intergovernmental relation framework, who have been supportive of the activities of this office, who also are represented in this meeting. I know the CEO, Mary, might not be here, but the representatives should be here. We are also appreciating the County Assemblies Forum, which is a very important forum. We have partnered in terms of training and capacity building of civic leaders, regional leaders in many aspects, and they have cooperated with us. Here represented ably by the CEO, Madam Judy Wangalwa. We want to appreciate political party leadership of all political parties, and also political parties Alliance Subcommittee, which we have worked very closely, and we appreciate the support that we've been giving the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. This office is very large on inclusion, and that is why we are collaborating with institutions like the National Council for People with Disabilities, and they are also represented here by the National Chair. We also have the Disability Inclusion Committee, along those lines also, represented by the chairperson, the Mr. Kabue. We are collaborating very well, as usual, with the election management body of this country, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, which we are joined at the hip, and this collaboration and partnership is really appreciated, and they're also represented in the House. We also appreciate the partnership with the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal, and also, very importantly, as we are going to have to work towards peaceful election, we are collaborating very closely and have had a number of joint functions together with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which is represented in this meeting by none other than the CEO, Dr. Skita Ochara. We also want to appreciate the consultants that we've worked together in the production of the source book. We have them in the House, and we really appreciate their input. Mr. Baraza, Charles, and Wanjiru, we recognize your contribution to the production of the source book. So I am here just to make those opening remarks, and we're going to have a feel of what this book entails later in the program, but mine is just to welcome you, feel at home, feel appreciated, and consider yourself a hero in terms of your contribution to this country. Each and every one of you in this House have contributed in one way or another in improving the governance of this country, in bettering our society. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ali Abdullahi Surab. Asante sana. I am reminded that there are civil society organizations represented here, CSOs. CSOs represented, some I know. You know what we call them, Ali Weka. You know what we call them, if you represent a CSO. Asante sana, and feel very much welcome. I want to move on and call from Hans Seidel Foundation, the resident representative Daniel Seidel.
A warm welcome on this chilly morning, everybody. Honorable electoral parties, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to participate today in the launch of very important materials, training materials, information materials to develop the democratic society in Kenya. The Hans Seidel Foundation is one of the 6 German political foundations who are working in Germany for over 50 years. And our main task in Germany is fostering the democratic development and being politically educators. Because we realized after some not so successful attempts at democracy in Germany that democracy is nothing that you acquire once and you have for all the time and for all people in the country. Democracy needs to be taught, needs to be explained, and that is a continuous process who will continue for each new generation, because every year young people turn 18 and they become voters and they take part in the development of their country, and that needs to be explained and needs to be taught. And that's what we are doing in Germany quite successfully, and what we're doing in other countries as well. In the course of this 50 years, we realized that we are walking in a cycle. And that cycle is closely connected to the election cycle in any given country. In Kenya, for 5 years, we are working, for 4.5 years, we're working in the realm of civic education, doing trainings, workshops, working together with partners, individuals, to explain why it is important that people in a democratic society should participate, why they should stand for their rights, why the society and political landscape should be inclusive. And for half a year, in front of the elections, as we are aware now, we have to switch to voters' education, because we know that that level of attentiveness, that limelight that we are working in the moment, all together we are working this year, it will be gone a few days after the elections. And then we are back to normal day-to-day work, explaining how democracy is supposed to work, how it works, and how it should be implemented in different countries. To do that abroad, of course, we need partners. And the better the partners, the better we can work, because we do relatively little as ourselves. We could tell you until we are blue in the face how democracy works in Germany. It wouldn't impress too much. We need to have local and national partners to transfer the experience we have, to discuss what worked for us, what might not work for you, what could be adopted, what might not be adopted, how to make democracy run in your context, in your country. And to do so successfully, as I said, we need to have partners, and we also need to have reference points. The easiest reference point is constitution. The constitutions, even such a good constitution, a legal one, is a bit complicated to handle. It needs to be broken down, it needs to explain, it needs to be adapted to different fields where we are using them in class. That's why such a reference material, a reference book like the Handbook on Political Education, which was supported and developed by the ORPP, which we supported, is a very important tool for our trade, because on that reference material we can continue working programs, trainings, manuals, brochures, and whatever there is for the work which is coming on after the elections. Because as I said, now we are on the height of the pre-electoral attentiveness. Everybody's talking about politics, everybody's talking about elections. But after the elections, the war will continue, and then the difficult task of keeping the elected leaders accountable for what they have been elected, to remember what the promises in the pre-election campaign had been, and to check if everything which was promised actually is taking place. That's the task which needs to be done every day, which needs to be done by the people of Kenya. You are the ones who elected these people, and you are the ones who have to keep them accountable. Only that way a democratic society can develop, and the checks and balance between the government and the government are in place. ORPP for us is a gift from heaven as a partner, because we know that most of the time we are working with NGOs, NGO partners in many countries. Very seldom we find that level of commitment to inclusiveness, to the rule of law, to the level playing field for political parties and for people to participate in elections as expressed as in ORPP. So it's our great pleasure to support all the projects of ORPP when it comes to inclusiveness, working with SIG, working with all parties, making the clear so it's a great pleasure to work with ORPP. We will continue working as good as we can. For example, one of the things we are planning to do after the elections, because everybody will be analyzing what happened during the elections, not only the outcome, but what was the weight that led to the outcome will be important. And working with ORPP, we know that ORPP is quite interested in political parties, as we are, because Kenya, as Germany, is a party democracy. There's not very much you can do outside of the party to have influence in the political system. But there have been a lot of independent candidates this year, and we even did some trainings for them, because constitutionally they are allowed to run, and that's why we support them. But it will be an interesting point after the elections to find out why is it that in a country where I think 84 parties are registered, if I'm not mistaken, 84, 87, 89 even, where 89 parties are registered, there are still a lot of people who do not find a place for themselves within these political parties. That is an interesting point which needs to be analyzed, and it could be helpful for the independent candidates, but also for the parties themselves. What is wrong with the parties? That so many candidates who are eager to do something, who are willing to take a role in the political process in Kenya, are not finding themselves a place within the parties, but decide to run as independent candidate, knowing that they have very small chances of success. That's something we will do afterwards, and I'm sure that all people will be interested in that topic as well. Because as I said, for us, the handbook is a starting point for a lot of work coming after the elections. But today we are not only launching the handbook, but also two very important other documents. The manual for the election day, because again, everybody knows that elections are only as valid they are perceived during the election day. So if everything is wrong, if anything is wrong, if there are really complaints or doubts about the sincerity of the elections and their outcome, then we are in problems. And we know that Kenya faced these problems a few times in history. So in order to repeat that, that approach ORPP was choosing the partners of having as many people qualified and competent in observing the electoral process. With the checklist even is a brilliant idea, is a brilliant approach, and I'm sure that it will help to sustain the legitimacy of the upcoming election. Having said that, I don't want to take much more time. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for ORPP that you're ready to work with us. And let's hope for peaceful elections, and let's work together after the election that all the promises which we are reading right now will actually be fulfilled afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel Zaibale. A quick perusal of the source book reveals that it goes deeper than any other manual for civic education. All right, it really is deep, yeah, and it is meant, whatever the source book says, it is meant for political parties, for political leaders, and also for the person we call common mwananchi. I know it is bulky. I don't know if there will be an abridged version later. So for quick consumption of the mwananchi, so that I think the reason why maybe people don't find themselves also in political parties, a large percentage of our populace do not understand the importance of joining a political party, or if they understand, then they have a skewed understanding, all right, as based off of an individual. Because most of political parties perceivably are, they're based out of personality. So I think this tool here can work towards changing that. Now, as we work towards our democracy, the American democracy in its 200 years plus, they're still working on the elections. And one of the most complicated elections is the American election. There is an organization based in America, in the USA, called the National Democratic Institute, and they are represented in Kenya. I want to call Dennis Omondi, who is the country director, to come and talk to us about, give his remarks for today's event. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi.
Thank you. I think our elections are probably more complicated than American election, to say the least. But that's a big debate. The chief guest, Attorney General Emeritus, Honorable Professor Githu Muigai, the Registrar of Political Parties, Madam Anne Deritu, PPLC leadership here present, the leadership of the various organizations that are here, including the civil society organizations and other state and non-state organizations. Good morning. In the interest of time, I want to take very few minutes and perhaps start by talking about NDI. Most of the times when we say NDI, many people think that we are a political party in Kenya. so just to clarify that we are not a political party in Kenya. But as the MC has said, NDI was established in the United States, headquartered in Washington, but now has wings in over 60 countries in the world. Our main mission is to strengthen democratic governance wherever we go. So we work with state and non-state actors to strengthen democratic governance. That's very important. Our former chair, may God rest her soul in eternal peace, Madam Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright used to say, if you don't work for democracy, one day you'll fight for democracy. And when she used to say this, they had not come close to what they saw last time. So be encouraged that we have to continuously work to strengthen democracy. Otherwise, one time we'll have to fight for democracy. Now, NDI's history in Kenya is inseparable with support to political parties and the establishment of ORPP itself. Since 1993, NDI has been working to support institutionalizing political parties in Kenya and of course across the globe. Our partnership with parties and the ORPP continues to grow and to grow, I must say. Our mutual and critical belief remains strengthening the role of parties to consolidate multi-party democracy across the globe, and more importantly for me, here in Kenya. The source book and the training manuals that are going to be launched here will be critical tools in disseminating and providing information to citizens and the voters and political parties as an enhancement and achievement of ORPP's mandate as established under the Political Parties Act 2011 and reviewed recently. NDI finds comfort in the source book and training manuals as facilitating the strengthening of Kenya's democracy and the ideals of our forefathers as captured in our national anthem. These materials highlight key responsibilities that the Constitution envisions for political parties in the realization of the constitutional principles, including integrity of our leaders, representation and free and fair elections. The source book speaks to the need to strengthen political party structures to provide a favorable environment for SIGs to participate in political processes. And I think this is very vital, that even as we strengthen our democracy, we must realize that there are other the special interest groups that need to be equally participate in the political processes. NDI therefore hopes that the source book and the training manuals will help parties wake up to the realization of the very important need to institutionalize parties and for parties to be able to improve on how they organize and conduct their party primaries. It is worth noting that awareness and civic education is necessary to apprise parties on the recently enacted Political Parties Act. Likewise, highlights of political parties' internal democracy have been inadequate. The source book provides guidance in the conduct of such exercises. NDI therefore hopes that the source book will provide the strategies that can guide parties in meeting the 2/3 constitutional gender threshold. The training manuals should strengthen Article 38 on political rights and cement the place of the sanctity of the vote and assure free, orderly, honest, fair and credible elections at every stage. Like enough, the materials are available on ORPP's website, as I've been informed, so that citizens and the political parties can easily access and consume the information. I'm also aware that most of us do have them. And I think a quick look into this room looks to me like people are good readers, so I hope that we are able to pick the books and read them, ingest them, and make
involvement material for them to be able to empower decision making has been lacking. And apart from that, when you go deeper into the politics, or you go deeper into the political parties, you find that even the political hygiene, like I started saying, is not there. The practices that political parties have been having have lacked a source of information or a source of education for them to be able to imbibe into their processes. And therefore, the tool which is going to be launched today will be going a long way in terms of trying to help that particular aspect. And lastly, on the question to do with we have, of course, in terms of the political party agents, working again very closely with the ORPP, there's been the question of how observers styled up some time ago. We were able to start using tools, improved methods in terms of how we are able to observe elections, but not so much the party agents. And I remember my experience, I think, with NDI, Dennis, in 2007, which is the first time I actually started participating in work around elections. I went out to be a party agent trainer. And together with Winnie Ngushu and others, we went around the country trying to train political parties, the agents, so that they can be able to do a better job during the elections. So we have come a long way. Those were just ad hoc trainings. Now we do have a manual. So it's a great movement in terms of the kind of political and electoral engagements that we've been having. Finally, in terms of, just to echo one of the things that the moderator said, it is my prayer that this material is going to be available online, that is also going to be popularized. It will be useful to have an abridged version, not just for the party agents, but also, remember, political parties draw their agencies or agents from the villages. So we want to have an abridged version that they can be able to quickly relate with. moving forward. I thank you, and I once again congratulate the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties on this very important launch of the source book. Thank you. I was looking for KDOP. KDOP is a predecessor of ELOG. Sijui kwa nini nilikuita Paul. I think my mind was going through, you know, when the international observers gave a report after the last election, they gave it a clean bill of health, so to speak. But then the presidential election was nullified. So it raised questions about the observation groups, right? So I think my mind was going through, will we get a different one? Are they reformed? Hence the poll. So thank you sana Mule, Musau, utanipatia kazi ya nini. So no problem. All right, the Council of Ghana, the Council of Governors is a creation of the 2010 Constitution. Some people think that it's just an amorphous body. It is a creation of the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution. I know because I was part of committee of experts. I was in charge of civic education in Makadara constituency, and we sensitize people about this. I'm letting my CV out there, so I don't know if you're feeling me. Are you following? I don't know if you're following, but hey, I want to call a representative of the CEO of Council of Governors, the COG. I want to call Irene Ogambo, who is the Director Legal, to come and give remarks on behalf of the COG.
Good morning, everyone. I thank the coordinator for confirming that COG is a government entity. Many times people think that it is not an institution that is established in law. We are actually established in law, and we're a legal entity. As he said, my name is Irene Morao Gamba, Director of Legal Services, representing the COG. The CEO COG was not able to make it this morning. And allow me to read her speech verbatim. I have been a civil servant for many years, and we observe protocols. And therefore, I will not remove a word, I will not add a word to her speech. Allow me to observe the protocols that have been stated by the previous presenters, and just say good morning. First, hearty congratulations to the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties on the launch of the Political Education Sourcebook and Training Manuals. This launch comes at the right time when we are preparing for our third election under the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Second, thank you for considering the Council of Governors and by extension the 47 county governors as your worthy partners. The Constitution of Kenya is one of the most progressive constitutions in the world. It is a development-conscious document and very pragmatic in comparison to the other two constitutions. It introduces a rights and duties to discuss obligating state and public officers to deliver the public good and services for the benefit of the people of Kenya in strict observance of the Constitution and the rule of law. The launch of these key instruments is one, a testament that the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is committed to creating, nurturing and sustaining a conducive environment for multi-party democratic governance in the Republic of Kenya, and two, that the office is willing to become innovative in its work in order to ensure the aspiration of the people of Kenya for democracy. Esteemed participants, neither the Constitution of Kenya nor the Political Parties Act 2011 overtly requires the Office of the Political Parties to develop such instruments. However, it is important and necessary that these documents are developed to enable all key actors in the political parties ecosystem and the Mwananchi to have a good understanding of the political processes, political rights, as well as their respective duties. Democracy is only real when both the duty bearers and the rights holders knows what is expected of them. Indeed, Citizens can only actively and meaningfully engage in the political sphere of their lives when information is given to them. The source documents covers various topics. One, the campaign planning strategy and management, strategic communication, public speaking and media relations, management of political conflicts, managing political and election outcomes, among others. It is my trust that the source book is practical and informed by previous experiences. It is also my legitimate expectation that if the information will equip all its intended segmented population with relevant information, knowledge, skills intended and also as well as the attitude and values. Allow me to quote the Bible and agree with the sentiment that my people perish for lack of knowledge. Indeed, many people have failed to engage meaningfully in the electoral processes for lack of knowledge. The people of Kenya expect that the documents that we're launching today are simple and practical and will enable them to use them for purposes of their actions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while noting that we are far into the electoral calendar, it is worth appreciating that it's never too late to launch and use this knowledge book. I add that the training process is fast-tracked so that this book is of value. As a Council of Governors and the 47 counties, we are willing to lend our support to the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties to make this real. One topic that is covered in this source book and which is dear to me is on managing political and election outcomes. Election cycles often lead to inevitable changes in the political landscape. Governors, deputy governors, county executive members, chief officers, clerks, and speakers of the county assemblies are cadres that experience high turnover after election. Unless capacity is built on aspirants to manage expectations and results, especially when they fail to win elections, the aspirants are often left vulnerable and wasted. This is a matter that we as Kenyans must address and address with the urgency and the delicateness it deserves. Allow me to speak to a process that we are currently undertaking as a Council of Governors. In recognition that upon taking office, county leaders need to receive thorough induction on the statutory instruments, systems and structures and processes on devolution, the Council has developed an induction manual intended to equip the county officials with the necessary skills, tools, knowledge, values, and attitudes to enable them to discharge their responsibilities and to lead effectively. I will therefore be listening keenly on some of the components in these source code documents that may find its way to our manual. Invited guests, these source documents and other documents that we are launching today, if well implemented, will 1. Strengthen democracy, strengthen governance, and increase accountability, inclusivity, and ownership of the electoral processes. I wish to reiterate that this launch comes at the right time and once again express my congratulations to the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Many thanks go to many actors who have made this possible. It will be remiss of me if I fail to acknowledge the Hans Siedel Foundation for the tireless work that has made this launch a reality. As I conclude, allow me to quote and associate with Franklin Roosevelt, who posits that democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Irene. Asante sana. The county government is made up of the county executive, where the governor and his cabinet sit, and also the county assemblies. Now, the county assemblies is where the person we call MCA sits, the member of county assembly. The MCA is every governor's nightmare. But the MCA is very important. And I wish our people, and I hope this tool addresses this, that the MCA is the most important person in the current political arrangement in Kenya, the MCA is one of the most important people because they oversee the resources that have been devolved down there, the ones that go directly to benefit the people. So I wish the people would stop being, having sleepless nights about who becomes the president. Well, it's important. I wish they focused on the people they elect into the office of the member of county assembly, which is the key and very, very important. And I hope if this is going to be disseminated by people or an abridged version, I wish they wasisitize, Kiswahili inasema wasisitize kwamba yule MCA ndiyo mtu ambaye, if you mess up with the county assembly, your whole resources are messed up. And we've seen examples how these things work. All right? So let me call the CEO of the County Assemblies Forum, Judy Owamalo, to come and give her remarks and tell us more about MCAs if we should continue fearing them.
Thank you. I'm not an MCA, but I'm happy that you ended with saying we should look and focus at institutions. That the Constitution has actually mandated the county assemblies to be actually the accountability and oversight bodies. So I'm happy that you concluded with that. And of course, I'm not going to bring you trouble. I'll just spend 2 minutes to give my remarks. Judy Oduma is my name, the CEO of County Assemblies Forum. I think, first of all, to my friend, and Rito, we have walked a long journey, even before CAF, and I continue to really applaud you for the very good work you continue to do. Our guest, our chief guest, Professor Gita Bigai, and my good friend, Hans, is it Seidel Foundation? My good friend Dennis, good to see you. And I think I would like to stand on the protocols that have already been set. Good morning. It's really a great pleasure to stand here today, I think, as a County Assemblies Forum, coordinating all the 47 county assemblies. And these are over 2,934 members of county assembly and staff. We are happy that you have made us part and parcel of this program and really appreciate the efforts that ORPP has put into the production of these materials. We are not yet a legal entity. We still stand as a society. But you can imagine the kind of work that CAF does, really facilitating and coordinating all the 47 county assemblies, lobbying for the interests of county assemblies, trying to empower all the 47 county assemblies to undertake or rather execute their mandates of oversight, legislation, and representation effectively. We are happy that we have actually worked with the ORPP before. Just around March of this year, we rolled out a very comprehensive program across the country to educate and train all aspirants on electoral preparedness. And I think this would not have come at a better time, because we realized that most people actually just want to run, but not knowing the ground rules, not really knowing what they need to know before, throwing themselves and throwing their weight into the political scene and the campaign trail. And I can confirm to you, and I think you have the report, from the collaboration and the training, I think we have made a big difference. Some of, especially our ladies, who had no idea what to do, what to ensure they prepare, and psychologically know what to expect as we go to elections. I think when we were rolling that out in March, we didn't know there was actually more. If you look at democracy in political parties, I think we have really a long way to go. The recent cancellation of the nomination lists across the country and across the 79 out of 89 parties tells you a lot that we really have to work. And I think we are speaking to political parties also seated here, I hope. That's really the country faces some kind of danger when it comes to management and governance of our institutions. Remember, we are talking about the national government, but also at the county government levels. Understanding our roles in order to undertake leadership mandate is key. And this is still a major gap existing across the country. I will not we had a member in a county in the last elections who went to elections, then in the county assembly was elected as a majority leader. Getting there after 2 weeks, actually a professional from Nairobi, thought I should go and serve my people. After 3 weeks, I don't know what I'm doing in this country. What is my role as a leader of a majority party? They didn't know. And so, after 3 months, he was fed up. He said, let me go back to my job in Nairobi. From a county in the northeastern. Told the clan, because the primary started in the clan level, I think now I leave it open for you to choose another person. As for me, go back to Nairobi. I don't really think this is my space. We hope that this source book is going to treat that. And the political party nominations, as I've just mentioned, has really been a long shot. This, we can say, has also been a major attribute and has contributed to some kind of instability in the county assemblies. That we have to wait and get instructions, and of course we have allegiance to political parties. But a new phenomenon, and I hope you're going to speak about it, the independence. Where will we lay our allegiance on? How does it make governance simplified? Does it complicate it? Does it make it easy for us to govern? I think the launch of the Kenya's political education sourcebook is a monumental effort and a powerful signal by ORPP, and it could not have come at a better time. For us, we see this as a tool for training of political party members, officials, leaders, aspirants, those who are seeking seats. I think we only have about 21 days, agents, and even the public on political processes, political rights, as well as the duties and responsibilities of each of this category of leaders. Presumably, this should be able to address the critical issues I just highlighted. With the launch of this book, we contend that there will be improved access to information of citizens and accountability, as the various reports emanating from this book will always be uploaded to the Office of Registrar Political Parties website to allow access to each and everyone across the countries. For its part, for the last 8 or so months, we have been working on developing the curriculum and induction manuals for members of County Assembly, for the third generation of members of County Assembly. And therefore, we welcome ORPP. And we will work with ORPP, once again, in the rollout of this induction program come September of 2022. So today, I would say, we are marking one step but looking at another step ahead of us. I know pressure is reducing as you go towards election, but I would say that let this be a next step as we move towards induction of the members of county assemblies. And we would like to really appreciate the great partnership we have had, and of course wish that we can actually grow our partnership even further. With that, with you and your team, a hearty congratulations, and hope to see you in September. That your team and the CAF team will work together to have proper onboarding for the members of county assembly, so that as we think about the members of county assembly, let's think about the institution of the county assembly. I always tell people across board, forget about the noises, look at the institution and the mandate that the institution must execute within their term. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Madam Judy Oduma. Asante sana. The Political Parties Liaison Committee is a very, watu wengi hawajui hii ni mnyama gani. Personally, I also do not know really what they do. Of course, it's in the name, but I want to call Mr. Julius Wambua to come and give a few remarks, particularly telling us what the PPLC does in this process. I know there are very many people who don't have any idea. In the meantime, I want to recognize the presence of the IEBC, the Chairman, IEBC Youth Coordinating Committee, Joel Mwita. Thank you, Karibu Sana. Welcome very much. We have the Director General of Vision 2030. He will be giving his remarks a little bit later. So Karibu Sana, Bwana Julius Wambua. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I hear PPLC is not known to some of us. The Political Parties Liaison Committee was established following the Kriegler report, and it was entrenched in Section 38 of the Political Parties Act. Its core mandate is to engage the Commission, the Register of Political Parties, and political parties under one platform for purposes of the electoral law reform and enhancement of democracy, and also conflict resolution at the political parties level. It is composed of all fully registered political parties are members of PPLC, and each political party presents to the committee, to the registrar, two representatives, one a substantive and another an alternate, both with a capacity to bind the political parties, their parties in pertinent decisions. So it is domiciled under the office of the registrar currently, and I think that is the long and short of the Political Parties Liaison Committee. When I look at the volume on political education, 80% of it is about political parties. And if you can know the political process and the political players in your country, you are like 80% to achieving good governance. If I can say, if you know yourself and you know your enemies, you will overcome the democracy kingdom. Kenyans must know their political parties. They must know their political processes. They must know their rights within the political processes and within political parties for them to participate properly. You will know what to expect from political parties. political party leaders also should know how to deliver and what to deliver to the electorate. So this is a volume that, in fact, I believe is a little bit late, but it is in time. I have had a chance to go through it casually, and a lot of the input there has been drawn from massive engagement over the years within the political parties liaison committee. Most of the names, the authors, the contributors are people we have had hours and hours on end discussing these issues. Well, you might not agree with everything in this volume, but not every ingredient in the dish will be palatable to your stomach. Your stomach will just accept what it can take, and the rest will bless others. Now, this volume seeks to bring political parties into the mainstream of the discourse of this nation. Whenever something goes wrong, political parties are always to blame. But have we really sat down to define what a political party is? Have you realized that even you, the member, are part and parcel of a definition of a political party? That when there is chaos in your political party, you might be a contributor to it through non-participation or wrong participation. Because when you see your political party leaders as cash dispensers and not facilitators of governance and democracy, you make them hide from you whenever they see you. Most of us now are in the campaign trail. I have a pair of jeans and a t-shirt in the car. I'll change after this. And if you go there without a small word of 50 shillings, sitting allowances, you will not be able to address those people. My good friend Koche, the former leader of the MCA, one day shared with us something and told us, you go for a meeting, and before it starts, you are told, mheshimiwa hebu ngoja kidogo, usifanye vile ulifanya last time. Don't do the way you did last time. Last time you mixed the women and the men and the children. This time let every group go on its own. That means you first of all plot how to do an illegality even before the meeting starts. How to divide political loot, how to divide the handouts. You go to run for an election in this country, for a seat in this country, and you're expected to start tarmacking roads, painting schools, supplying water. It is the wananchi who expect you to do that. They don't know the do's and don'ts of a political party or a political electioneering process. They don't know that these things are supposed to be delivered after they have put you in office. Even after they have put you in office, they send you to the National Assembly. They expect you to build roads, build schools, attend every funeral, and you come loaded with cash. And that is why even parliamentarians have a problem letting go the CDF, which should actually be a devolved fund. It should be with the governors. But because of low political education amongst Kenyans, amongst the electorate, wrong expectations, parliamentarians today must have NGCDF. which is in conflict with devolution. But if our people took time to digest what is in this booklet, they'll really understand that MCAs, senators, women rep, and members of National Assembly are principally oversight people, not implementers of development projects. But that is where we are. So, Madam Registrar, this is timely. I hope it goes online and it goes ahead to be read by wananchi. Some of us, we wish we have enough copies so that we can go out on campaigns and give them. Hopefully, wakisoma, they'll be light on our pockets. About the county assembly members. Most members in PPLC who are political parties have an issue. Political parties have been regarded as nomination ticket dispensers. You come, you put your ATM card, it deducts the money, and a ticket comes out. After you get your ticket, you go, do your politics, come back after 5 years. In between here, when a political party leader tries to call an MCA for those subscriptions, they don't pick. If you change the number, they block it. Kwa hivyo tunakutananga baada ya miaka 5. And these are small issues which can be ironed out by having some synergy, Madam CEO, with your organization, so that we can get the expectations of your members to political parties, and we also share with you our expectation with your members. For example, most of the youth, I hear there's a youth representative here. The PPF is coming. And if you read through this book, you realize that some of those funds will go towards affirmative action, towards your group, and towards the marginalized, and towards PWDs. Knowledge is power. Engage your political party from a point of knowledge. And that will make, you will be able to grow within there. I thank our legislators for easing the restrictions on PPF. Most political parties, just as an elected representative, will be able to access it. And hopefully political parties will cease being members' clubs. I went to taking some documents to the IEBC the other day, and this goes to the IEBC. Those people have written books. Wameandika vitabu kama 1000. But when you go to their offices, you'll find them in cartons. Very good manuals. I always pick them and they don't mind. How I wish they would bring them to such a forum for the country to consume. NCSC, you've been very good at this. We've seen your efforts, even though hatupandwingwi na ingine ilizuiwa na koti, we still will not use them. We know why we use them. We don't use them for a noble cause. So, at least NCSC, you've tried. And finally, I would like to say this. We as political parties are not the unwanted love child of the political process. The centrality of political parties in a multi-party democracy is important. We feel that we must be included and walk along with the electoral players through this process. so that at least the outcomes can be jointly owned. We want to observe the process. The Commission has allowed us to observe the process. We would wish and want to oversee the printing of the ballots. We have appointed 2 people, and negotiations are on course for that, so that at least, if anything ever goes wrong 2 weeks from today, we will be operating from a point of knowledge. We cannot dispel rumors that ballot papers came from Uganda when we never went to see. Yes, we are observing the printing of the presidential ballots, but ballot stuffing has been an allegation across all electric posts, right down to MCA. We should know, and we should certify that the correct amount of ballots have come down. I remember one day at County Hall, I was there and the Attorney General was speaking, and he said, Kenya, we have a very low trust, a very low threshold of trust, and that is what affects our elections. So anything that goes towards reducing the low threshold of trust in the political game is welcome, and most of all, this manual is most welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay. Political parties are not the what? The black sheep in the political process. I agree. I asked how many political parties are represented here. Do we have political party representatives here? All of you are here when I asked. Why didn't you raise your hands? Siliniuliza. Oh, I only named 2. Oh. So which ones are there? You are which one? Which political party? Just say from there. Alternative Energy Party of Kenya. Wapo makofi kwao. Which other one is represented? Yes? Sorry? Third Way Alliance Kenya. Represented there. Which one is this one? Huh? Okay, here, that one. Karibu sana. Which one is that one? Shout it out. The National Vision Party. Asante sana, yes ma'am. United Green Movement, thank you very much. Yes. Moja Summit Party of Kenya, yes. United Democratic Alliance. Progressive Alliance, thank you very much. People's Trust Party. People's Trust Party, thank you very much. I am ma'am. Mabadiliko Party of Kenya, yes. Kenya National KNC. Anyona the late, yes. Tujibebe wa Kenya, and Governor Kabogo. Democratic Congress, thank you very much. Justice and Freedom Party. It's okay. That's what we're doing. Yes, ma'am. Muungano Party, thank you very much. Chama cha Kazi, asante sana, karibu. The National Party. TNP. Asante sana. Next to you. Sorry? The Republican Liberty Party. There, that's end. Mandela Democratic Party. Sorry? Yes, the party is in. Jirani Mzalendo. Madam Merito knows all of them. I'll come back for another round. Yes? Just say that again. Wiper Democratic Movement, asante sana. Nitazichukua zote kweli saizi zote. Si come back another round. Tuanzie upande ule. Yes, please stand. Safina Party is represented, thank you. Upia is represented. PDP is represented, asante, karibu. KPP, Kenya Patriots Party, karibu sana. People's Party of Kenya, karibu sana, yes. Kanu, hey. I tell you why I'm excited. I'm a member of Kanu as well. Asante sana, that's our Director of Communication, karibu sana to it. Pande hii nani sijaona, yes. NRA, National Construction. You have to apologize. Thank you. NRA, karibu sana, yes. Party of Democratic Unit, PDU. Asante sana pande hii. Nani sija kuchukua, yes. Umoja na Maendeleo Party. Asante, karibu sana, yes. Chama? Ya? Mapatano. Karibu sana chama Mapatano. Asante, yes bro. Mbasi. Makofi kwa Mbasi. Mbasi imetoka mbele imefika. Karibu sana, yes, yes. Ma'am? Democratic Party of Kenya, karibu sana. TSP, karibu sana. Party leader Mongi Kunjuri. Haya, nimemaliza upande huo. Political parties are very important, ladies and gentlemen, just indulge me. Agano Party, they have a presidential election. Makofi kwao tafadhali. They have a presidential aspirant. Yes, bro? Chama cha mashinani. Weka. Asante sana, yes. Devolution Party of Kenya, thank you very much. Yes? No. No peu. Wale wali no peu. Party leader ni Mpuri Aburi, yeah? Yes? For the Kenya Simba. Asante sana. PNU Party, asante sana. Yes. National? Asante sana. Behind you? Sorry? Unified Change Party. Asante sana. Federal Party of Kenya, thank you. Maendeleo Chap. Asante. Just say that again. A trust pioneer. Hey, what people wanajua hizi parties? They're the ones who register them anyway. Yes, sister. Chama cha Uzalendo. Asante sana, yes. Grand Dream Party. Thank you very much. Yes. Farmers Party. Thank you very much. United Democratic Movement, UDM. Asante sana. Kuna mwingine nimeacha? UDP. Asante. Kuna ule amebaki? Any political party that hasn't said? Okay. Makofi for political parties, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. So we have so many political parties. Thank you very much for coming. This cannot go on without political parties. All right? So we recognize you. We recognize your most important place in this hierarchy of political process. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. Asanteni sana political parties. I want to move on and call IEBC Disability Inclusion Committee Chairperson Samuel Kabue. Karibu sana. Give us your remark. Inclusion is big in politics, so that is why we have Mr. Samuel Kabue.
Our main guest, Professor Hido Muigai, the Registrar of Political Parties, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. The Disability Inclusion Coordinating Committee is a new outfit
not quite new. We were established in January as a result of long interaction of organizations of persons with disabilities and the IEBC, and in a way to seek more coordinated way of working with IEBC in regard to inclusion of persons with disabilities in the entire electoral cycle, of course including what is pending now and most current, the issue of the elections. The committee is called IEBC committee, but it's made up of organizations of persons with disabilities, and is not leading, manned by the personnel of IEBC, although IEBC is represented in the committee. And the whole question of inclusion is so much talked about in Kenya today, but when we talk of inclusion, quite often people focus on women and the whole question of the two-third gender rule. But people with disabilities are quite often forgotten, and we forget that Section 54 of the Constitution of Kenya, subsection 2, talks of progressive realization of 5% representative of persons with disabilities in all elective and appointive positions. We had read here that talked about, and one of our aims is to see how that can be implemented. And the whole question of affirmative action is in our constitution, and the whole question of public participation, and we are part of the public. And so DICC is a part of recognition of the civil and political rights of persons with disabilities in this country. In the past, people with disabilities have been seen through the eye of charity, those who receive what other people give. And of course, a few people with disabilities who have managed to climb the ladder up and have taken position, their disability is often forgotten, and they are seen as people and not as people with disabilities. I talk of this because Keynote was talked about here, Kenya Domestic Observation Program of 2002. Keynote had two boards. The first board was a policy board headed by the late Archbishop John Jenga. And then we had the technical board, and I was the chairman of the technical board. I'm the one who deployed 18,800 observers for those elections. And because I had that responsibility, nobody talked about my blindness. So what we are saying is that persons with disabilities need to be recognized and given their position, given their place, in order to be able to exercise their civil and political rights. And this booklet that we are launching today recognizes the whole question of inclusion. And I'm grateful that we are here to actually emphasize on the issue of inclusion of persons with disabilities in the entire electoral cycle. We often, as persons with disabilities, fail to be recognized because we are scattered and spread all over. But the current report of the voter register, as audited by the auditors who did it, indicates that 8.7% of the voters are persons with disabilities. That makes 1,700,000 voters. That's almost like the whole of Nyanza region voters. But these people are not recognized. And now coming to the political parties, because I hear many of them are here, we had a meeting with what are called the lobbies, disability lobbies in the political parties. Many of the parties I've had here do not have lobbies, maybe Wiper does, and for Kenya, I think, no, not for Kenya. Very few who are here have these lobbies. But even where these lobbies exist, they are seen from that point of view of being there because it's politically right to say we are including persons with disabilities. They talked of being recognized by their management organs of the party. They talked of having difficulties even to meet their general secretaries to exercise their, civil rights, their participation. They talked of parties coming up with party lists with persons with disabilities without any reference to them, in which case you are bringing into the party list anybody with a disability that you know of, so that people with disabilities themselves who are being represented by this person have no part to play in it. So you political parties, you need to look into this. If people go to represent disability as MCAs, as members of parliament, it is necessary that organizations of persons with disabilities have a say as to who that person is, not just a person appointed from everywhere and anywhere. Those are some of the problems that we are facing. The other question is, I said, when we talk of the recognition of inclusion, we are only talking about women. And we forget that women with disabilities are first and foremost women. So when we fill the women positions, the zebra thing, we don't see the person, the woman with a disability as part of the woman, so that he can be on the top of the list. They are put at the bottom, number 10, number 20, where the party knows that they will never be able to reach there. As a result of that, in the last general election, though each of the county assemblies should have persons with disabilities, we found that 17 counties missed out on persons with disabilities. And in 2 or 3 counties, a person without a disability was nominated to represent persons with disabilities. These are some of the issues that need to be addressed. And as I said, I'm glad that this book talks about inclusion. What we need to do now is to ORPP. How do we disseminate these resources to people who read different kind of formats of reading, alternative formats, not just a print book? Can we receive these materials in soft copy for blind people who use computers? Can we receive them in what is called easy read for people who have intellectual disabilities? Can they even be put into audio form so that people who can benefit from that are able to benefit from it? So thank you very, very much. We look forward to greater inclusion. We look forward to being given our position. We look forward to being part of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I am glad that after so many years, 20 years, I'm meeting my Keynote boss, Mr. Samuel Kavue. Asante sana. Good to know that you are the one who deployed us through proxies, of course, but we hope we did a good job then, right? So I want to move on very quickly because we are running out of time. I want to call You know, the Vision 2030 has 3 pillars. The social, the economic, and the political pillar. And this tool here is one that we can say is part of making sure that we achieve the political pillar of the Vision 2030. All right? So I want to call the Director General of Vision 2030, Bwana Kenneth Mwige, to come and give his remarks, to tell us where we are at, maybe in a short way, and then we shall continue, finish off this first session of speeches, get an entertainment to ease us off, and then we shall get on to the final round of speeches. Karibu sana, Mr. Kenneth Mwige. You asked me where in the program. It's the advantage of being an MCU. Sometimes you have privilege of having, yeah, but he was there.
Thank you. Good morning, friends. I've come from the field and I'm going back to the field. As you can see, the field is a bit dusty. My voice disappeared over the weekend, so I won't be long here. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'd just like to start with a few protocols. Mwalimu, my chief guest, my professor of criminal law, Sigido Mugai, karibu sana. Andrito, ORPP, resident rep of the Anside Foundation. My first job of university was the Conrad at Mastifo. So I've been in this space for a while.
All right, let me move on swiftly and call the CEO of the Political Parties District Tribunal, the Honorable Rosalind Agani, to come and give her remarks.
Distinguished guests, my dear friend, Judicial, and all protocols of some morning. I bring back some greetings from political parties tribunal in its entirety. We have grown in numbers. Previously, we were only 7 members. Now we are about 25 members. We previously had only 2 benches. Now we have 8 benches. into 7 regions. So for access to justice, I think we have done well. For the election preparedness, we also have embraced virtual technology. So apart from the physical hearings in the regions, we also have the availability of the physical hearings as well as the virtual platforms. So it is my further pleasure to acknowledge the presence of all our stakeholders. That is why I'm taking this opportunity to talk a bit about the political parties, because I want to take advantage of this forum, because the Judicial political parties being one of our best stakeholders by being joined to the hip, because getting such a platform will not be as easy as you have seen. So for me, I want to say that PPDG and ORPP have been uniquely joined to the hip, as evidenced in our growth processes. We began in an office with them, and they have seen us grow, and we're happy when they also grow. Indeed, ORPP is a very important stakeholder to us, as well as all our stakeholders in this room. So we are very grateful to ORPP for having us all in one forum, because it would be difficult for some of us to even organize such an event. For now, I want to thank the Judicial political parties for this launch. I congratulate you very much. This is a big achievement. This is because it is important for this precious launch to be successful, because for us it will affect us as a stakeholder, and I know it will affect the other stakeholders as well. This is because democracy has grown, the political space has also grown, hence the need and importance for identification of training booklets and other sources of information to ease spreading the valuable knowledge we all seek. So Madam Registrar and her team have done us proud with this new development, and we deeply appreciate being given the opportunity to be part of this celebration. Of course, with the support, they've always given PPDT. We're ready and willing to work with them in the process of the trainings after this beautiful launch. And we can tell the registrar and her team that we will always support them. Our interactions through our various successful collaborations shall continue with a view to serve wananchi and exercise our mandates. So I want to thank you very much for the opportunity and further appreciation. We look forward to the engagement and collaboration towards having this training manual embraced by all of us.
All right, thank you very much. The next speaker is from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. I don't know about you guys, but the nomination process for political parties, the primaries, I'm very much interested in the political parties here, how the whole scientific research and opinion polling was used to get candidates. I think it's it should be a very interesting thing to discuss and know what really worked. Did it work? Because what I think or what I see from where I sit is that it really reduced conflict at the nominations. Do you agree, Madam Merito? Yeah, so I don't know, but it's something that I would really want to see somewhere where we're getting a lowdown about it. I want to call the CEO, Dr. Skita Charo, to come and speak where we are at with the NCIC and what they see going forward. After that, we will have Kayaba do for us a song, and then we get on with the next 5 speeches.
Thank you very much, our MC. The chief guest, Emeritus AG, Professor Gil Muigai, the CEO or the registrar of ORPP, Ms. Anne Derito. Allow me to stand on protocols earlier observed for the interest of time. I'm aware that our chief guest of honor is supposed to be going to another event. So all protocol observed. Good morning. Good morning again. I want to deliver greetings from Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, who is the chairperson of NCIC, together with 6 commissioners who are out in the field. We have a lot of events going on, the peace caravans, the civic education, and a lot of peace building activities. So receive greetings from them. First, I want to commend ORPP and the leadership of ORPP for the wonderful job that they are doing. And NCIC is very, very happy to be associated with them.
About 2 weeks ago, you saw NCIC organize for a huge event where we had all the political leaders come together and were taken through the political decency charter, and they agreed to it and they signed the political decency charter. That was a great milestone because once they have agreed to it, it means that all the other candidates are going to follow suit. They are going to stand by it. It did not only have the political leaders, but we also have the presidential candidates who also committed themselves that these elections is going to be a peaceful elections. And we are observing it just before and during and after the election. So let me take this opportunity, because I had done a speech, let me run through it, to congratulate the Office of Registrar of Political Parties for the great milestone of the launch of Kenya's Political Education Sourcebook. Indeed, based on some of the incidences that we have had in the past, I wish to say an institution to be told. Sorry. As an institution, we have stood tall and become the lens through which people during CEO. As NCIC, we believe that such a tool shall provide an opportunity to open up and sharpen the minds of the political class and Kenyans in general, as well as widen their thinking by exploring issues from multidimensional perspectives. We look forward for its implementation. You can count on our partnership. We envision a pool of peace actors who shall apply a cutting-edge learning tool that will maximize sustainable appropriation by providing all the expertise in decision-making and extensive insights into conflict management throughout the electoral process. Through our roadmap to an election bila noma, we have envisioned a synergistic front where all peace actors work towards fulfilling their various mandates, and are glad that we are today witnessing one of those milestones. When we were developing the roadmap to peaceful elections, we discovered that Kenyans do not trust the institutions that have been put in place to manage elections and also to oversight different activities that go on. And because of that, we looked at a way in which we can be able to ensure that we build this trust, because once the trust is not there, then it becomes very difficult to operate, especially for IEBC. One of the speakers ahead said that if the election
is not, if the institution is not trusted, then even the results will not be trusted. And I'm happy that the Office of ORPP has come up with a tool that is going to equip observers to ensure that they run through the process and come up with their own report after the elections that is going to credit the elections that will be done. So I think for this is an important milestone. Ladies and gentlemen, the clock is ticking with only about 20 days to the general elections. And as NCIC, we do admit that there is no room for complacency. We must continue to establish new grounds and set new thresholds for our organizations, while rallying all Kenyans, including the political class, to an election bila norma. It's worth noting that peace is a daily task of construction, laying the foundation brick by brick. Maybe one day it will start growing. These are words of Gilberto Gil, a Brazilian musician and politician who was born in 1942 and led World March for Peace and Nonviolence in 2009. When NCIC released Headlets, it was a publication of words that can spur violence in our country. And words like madoadoa, words like hatupangwingwi were included in the Headlets. What NCIC was putting across is that we were not banning those words because there is nothing wrong to the word madoadoa. If I look around the room, I can see people in madoadoa clothes, but that is not wrong. But how people use it is what can cause a problem. So we were cautioning the public against the use of those words. But as Kenyans are, we were taken to court, and the other day you saw the court ruling that those words have not been banned. Really, it was just a miscommunication or misunderstanding by our stakeholders or our citizens. So we are supposed to ensure that we are very, very cautious, because some of these small words, some of the hate speeches are what burns the country or what can bring down a country that was very, very okay. So let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Commission to express our profound gratitude to ORPP for putting together such an important resource for utilization by members of the public, the political class, as well as other stakeholders. Once again, thank you for your continued support as well as collaboration. Thank you, and may God bless you and also bless Kenya. Thank you.
Tunaelekea kumaliza. Mabibi na mabwana, yule ambaye ametoka kwenye jukwaa, mabibi na mabwana, ni yule ambaye anaitwa Dr. Skita Ocharo, ambaye ni mwenyekiti wa tume ya uwiano, National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Okay, so we want to move forward. We're almost through. We just have 3 more. Let's have a nice breaker. Let's have some music as you breathe. Take a breather. Kayamba, please come up. They're gonna just do one song as you take a breather, and then once you come back, we're gonna do a quick overview of the ORPP source book and election agents training manual. I know it will be very brief, and then we'll have remarks by Madame Anderito, and then our chief guest will have the closing. Will make the closing remarks, and then we'll have finished the program. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, our very able MCs doing a wonderful job. Please give a big round of applause. Asante sana. Now we're taking you down to the western regions of Kenya. We're doing Shombo Maritati. Shombo simply means something very beautiful, just as beautiful as all the ladies here are this morning. So this is a special dedication to you people with lots of love from Kayamba. Listen to this. Thank you. Easier.
Thank you very much. Did you give them a round of applause? Thank you. All right. I want to move to the final part of the program. But I'm very much interested in, I don't know, you didn't, the judiciary was not represented. Because there's something that this is personal. And I think most people look at it. I'm really interested in knowing how should the judiciary be taking the prevailing political situation when making judgments. For example, the matter of Sonko, you know, you feel me? You know where I'm heading to. Don't you think? So the matter is out of court, so we can talk about it. We all knew what the courts had said, yeah? And then the High Court goes ahead and gives the go-ahead. And, you know, but this is me thinking out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite the Assistant Registrar of ORPP, Mr. Ali Abdullahi, back here again to take us through the source book and the Elections Agents Training Manual so that we know really the nooks and the crooks of this particular tool. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, MC. You've done this very well, and we appreciate. As the MC has said, I'm going to take a few minutes to just give you highlights of the book that we are launching today, which is the source book. And I want, before I do go to the details, just to why this book. As you're aware, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is an independent state office in the meaning of Article 260 of the Constitution and created through the Political Parties Act. And the mandate, the key mandate of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is to register and regulate political parties as well as administration of the political parties fund. Now, this word regulation is the elephant in the room, and it's a very broad mandate. So for you to be able to regulate the political party, there is need to be able to have the legal and regulatory framework as well as institutionalization of those political parties themselves, so that it becomes easy to regulate. When you have institutionalized political parties, then it becomes easy. And we draw our mandate further from the Constitution. In Kenya, the Article 4 of the Kenya Constitution says Kenya is a multi-party democracy founded on the national values and principles of governance. So the institution that ensures that we have thriving political multi-party democracy in the country is majorly ORPP among other institutions. Similarly, Article 38 of the Constitution talks about the political rights. The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties plays a big mandate in implementation of that article, because specifically there is the right to join a political party, the right to participate in activities of the political parties, and the right also to be members of the political parties of their choice. So these are our constitutional provisions. And therefore, being the office that regulates political parties, we found it fit to be able to come up with a political education source book. We've had a lot of education on what's called voter education, which our sister organization IBC has done very well. We've had civic education ongoing for quite some time, and we want to appreciate the role of the civil society in doing that. But there is this element of political education which has been found to be an orphan. And the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties felt that it has a duty and responsibility to Kenyans to be able to fill in that gap. And that is why we have come up with the idea of production of this source book. And you're also aware that the Article 1 of the Constitution provides that sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya, which is exercised directly or indirectly through democratically elected representatives. Most of these democratically elected representatives come from political parties. And in line with this provision, it's imperative that citizens are placed at the center of governance and public service. One way of enhancing the capacity of the public to effectively participate in governance is through such an initiative of political education, and citizens need to be provided with right information that will enable them to effectively participate in public affairs and national development. Article 33(1) of our Constitution states that every person has the right of freedom of expression, which includes freedom to seek, receive, and impart information or ideas. This is our Constitution speaking, and we found that as a state institute actor and a duty bearer, we need to give information to Kenyans. Civic and political education will therefore ensure that citizens have enhanced knowledge, understanding, ownership of our Constitution as well as the political and electoral process in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this book is to have an informed citizenry that actively participate in governance affairs of the society on the basis of enhanced knowledge, understanding, and ownership. It is intended to impart information and create awareness of civic morals and values, rights and responsibilities, and on how these are exercised and accessed by all citizens within society, including disadvantaged and marginalized groups. The book is also intended to be used in combination with other participatory governance tools for purpose of having more effective and inclusive participation by citizens in socio-economic, political, and governance processes affecting their lives. It is aimed to be a reference guide for training of political party officials, members, aspirants, and the general public on the political and electoral process, as well as laws governing regulations, operations, and registration of political parties in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, the book is composed of 15 chapters, and these chapters, apart from the number one is introduction, the other one is legal and regulatory framework, under which we have captured international instruments, treaties, standards, and best practices, and discussed the constitutional, statutory, and regulatory framework for political and electoral processes in Kenya. Chapter 2 talks about registration of political parties, which gives in the requirements to be registered as a political party and all the processes through which political parties go through for them to get registered. And there is a whole lot of laws and regulations that guides that, and that has been made public now through this book. Chapter 4 talks about leadership and eligibility criteria. But before that, it talks about political party membership and information management. That is chapter 4. Political party membership and information management. This goes to the details of eligibility to join a party, sources of party membership, which is going to be a good guide for political parties where they can get members, as well as the rights and responsibilities of political party members. This needs to be made public because Kenyans are a bit shy about political parties, and we are very open as the Office of Registrar of Political Parties. The best way to manage politics in Kenya is through political parties, and Kenya should not feel shy from joining the political parties of their choice. It also talks about data management for political party members and a whole lot of the processes in the office where we have integrated political parties management system while taking into consideration data protection laws as well as also training members or political parties on proper record keeping. Chapter 5 talks about party organization and management, and in this we have talked about the constitutional requirement for political parties, including the requirement for them to have national character, and also
for political parties to be able to be upholding national values and principles of governance. Here we are talking about institutionalization of political parties, where we talk about the financing policies, the HR policies, the various organs of political parties. For you to be a political party, you must have administrative organs and structures, and that is what this chapter talks about, and how a political party can be organized for it to be able to deliver services to its members and to the country. Chapter 6 talks about funds administration, and this is where we underscore the importance of funds as a basic resource for sustenance of a political party, and we talk about the various sources of funds for political parties and why members should not feel shy from funding their political parties. What Mwambua talked about, expecting money from leaders, the opposite should be the norm, where members are supposed to be funding their parties because they believe in the ideologies of those parties, and therefore they should be able to, fund their parties. The chapter also talks about the political parties fund, that is state fund to political parties, and the various eligibility requirements, and more so the role of the registrar in terms of ensuring that those funds are utilized in the right way. It talks about transparency and prudence in utilization of the funds, and also the requirement for those funds to be audited by the Office of the Auditor General. So details about those funds management are captured in that chapter. Chapter 7 talks about coalitions and mergers. This is a political reality in this country, and we have realized that mergers are the norm. Political parties have realized that single party might not be able to make headways in the current political situation of the country, and therefore a very detailed explanation on why the mergers and what are the requirements, what are the legal and provisional requirements. And for now, under the new amendments to the Political Parties Act, we also have what is called a coalition political party. We have managed to explain these things in very clear terms to Kenyans so that they can be aware of what are mergers, why mergers, and what are the requirements and the checklist for registration of coalition and mergers. And then the next chapter talks about inclusivity and participation of persons, special interest groups. This is something very dear to our office, and we have even changed our laws. The Political Parties Act has been amended to ensure that the special interest groups are included in party structures, party activities, and party leadership, and also in the electoral process. So the chapter is detailed on that, and it talks also about the challenges and barriers to meaningful participation by special interest groups. We have gone ahead to highlight some of those barriers, and the chapter also goes further to recommend effective representation of special interest groups in all spheres of our life. The next chapter talks about leadership and eligibility criteria for political positions, and this we found it important because in our interaction with aspirants, when we trained across the country, we realized that there is very little information by those aspiring to hold political leadership about the eligibility criteria and requirements, and the chapter talks very clear about that. We also went further to capture qualities of a good leadership, good leaders, both ethical and constitutional requirements. We have not just restricted ourselves to the constitutional requirement, we went further to touch on ethical requirements. Just for information, even if it's not enforceable, we have also talked about requirements of a leader and detailed eligibility criteria to vie for various elective positions in this country, from the president to the MCA. The next chapter talks about political party primaries. This is again something very dear to us, and we will not tire to appreciate the political parties in conducting their party nominations this time around much better than the previous elections. Kudos to all the political parties. And what the MCA was wondering about is a creation of the law, and because we realized some of the issues that is bringing conflicts party conflicts is the nomination itself. So the law gave room for other methods of nomination by political parties, and therefore we were able to cover that. We have very detailed coverage of that. There is also, the next chapter talks about campaign planning and strategy. There is very important information for those who are aspiring to run for election, ranging from elements of an election campaign, fundraising, mapping of electoral area, and many other things. The next chapter talks about strategic communication. Again, we found that communication of candidates is important. Training leaders and about public relation, media relation, branding, and many other things is covered under that chapter. Then chapter 13 talks about management of political conflict. Again, a very detailed analysis of the source, cause, and effect of conflict. And we also talked about how to prevent those conflicts from arising, but when they arise, also a detail on alternative dispute resolution mechanism. The next chapter talks about managing political and election outcomes. Here we are saying that anybody going to an election should expect a win or a lose, and winners must be grateful, they must give vision and plan, and they must reassure those who have not voted for them and extend an olive branch to those who lost. Losers should appreciate the support they have received, acknowledge their opponent's victory, and also pledge support, because there is always a next time. Very detailed about being humble in winning and being gracious, and also for those who lost, how to manage the loss. The next chapter talks about emerging issues. Finally, these are also issues that we feel will affect and continue to affect in the future. They might not have developed into trends now, but we expect some of these issues to find themselves in the mainstream matters as we go ahead. So emerging issues have also been captured very well. So this is a detailed source book. We know it's bulky. We have plans to have abridged versions. We have plans to break them down into manuals so that every chapter can be a manual of its own, and that's what we intend to do, and it will go online. That's what we want to assure you. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the book. The manual is already in circulation. We have just revised it, and once you are able to get a copy, because of time I may not be able to talk about it, but we also have the checklist and the guidebook for agents. So those materials are ready for consumption. And I want to end by saying that the office will continue to do its mandate. We might stand danger of being accused of detranquilizing a subservient population, but this is our duty and we must do it. We want Kenyans to be educated politically. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the time, and God bless. And
okay. Palipo na wazee hapaharibiki jambo. Hapaharibiki jambo. I want to finish off. You know, once he took over, I was not supposed to take it back again. But let me just finish off by saying that I'm grateful. Kuna wala ananiuliza jina. My name is Papi Odek. Papi. Papi is P-A-P-I. It's Papi. It's not Papi. Somebody say Papi. Tell your neighbor Papi. I interact with a lot of political parties, especially at the People Dialogue Festival. I am the host of that festival, and I am also the curator of the festival aspect of it. So I know we meet there, Papi. Political parties are there, and that particular festival is always put together by CMD, the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, which is like the cradle of all political parties. They're represented here, of course, by Isaac Kenya is here. Tupigie CMD makofi. Asante sana. So I want to also recognize the presence of Edwin Moroshi. I'm told the Judicial Committee on Election. Yes, is there. Nilikuwa nimeulizia watu wa Judicial wako wapi. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Karibu sana. Also, I am done. So I'll call back Ali to call the registrar, and the registrar will take it from there. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to me and being a wonderful audience. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, MC. It's a matter of protocol, so you could have even called her, but it's okay. Now it's my singular honor to invite the lady of the moment, the registrar of political parties, to address us. And we want to thank her for stewardship of this great organization. And she is a great woman. Thank you very much. Karibu, registrar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali, the Assistant Registrar, the Chief Guest, Honorable Professor Githu Muigai. We want to really appreciate for you honoring our event as a guest of honor. I also want to recognize the Hans Fado Foundation for your support and always walking the journey with us. Thank you so much. Every time I see Daniel, I see inclusion. He's very, very particular on issues of inclusion. That's why we are happy that we have walked the journey. Thank you, the Council of Governors, the County Assembly Forum, NCIC, my sister, Skita Ocharo, for always being there. We have really partnered with NCIC this particular period, and they are also doing very great work in this republic to ensure that there's peace before, during, and after elections. And we have joined you to really walk the journey so that we have a country even after elections. Allow me also to, in a singular way, recognize all the political parties represented here. We are here because political parties exist. So there not be any political party in this country. There should be no office called Office of Registrar or political parties. That's why we recognize you as very honorable guests. And being here, and as we are discussing about this launch of the source book, you can see we are categorically thinking about political parties, about political processes, and how best then do we make our country better and governance better through political parties. That's why we celebrate every political party represented here. And allow me, our chief guest, to recognize those who are not there when introductions were being done. Because I can see through checking around, there could be a few that have joined us. So if you are here and you are not recognized when you are introducing ourselves, kindly start and introduce yourself, the political parties that were not introduced. Yes, I can see Veronica Maina from United Democratic Alliance, UDA. Let's clap for her. Thank you, Veronica Maina. Do I see anybody else? Yes, thank you. Azimio. That one is not registered. Nigandio, Mr. Okay, it is Labour Party, a member of Coalition Azimio. Thank you very much. Labour Party of Kenya, a member of Azimio, One Kenya Alliance Coalition Party. Thank you very much. I know all parties, so I was wondering which is this new one. But thank you for that. another Azimio coalition, a party called PPD, Party of Peace and Development. Thank you. Representing Green Congress, Party of Kenya. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Mr. Bogwa, Jubilee Party, the ruling party. We have another one. PDP, thank you, Kwabuka. What? Ukweli Party, Secretary General of Ukweli Party. Thank you so much, political parties. We are because you are. And we recognize that fact. I want to say the purpose and NDI, you were away when I was recognizing our supporters. Thank you so much for supporting us. As it has been elaborated very well by Mr. Ari, we are here to launch the first sourcebook on political education. And I think he has explained what is contained in that sourcebook. But why the sourcebook? The Office of Registrar of Political Parties has always been concerned the manner in which Kenyans look at political parties and political processes, especially the ones that touches on political parties. And the political class, the people who participate in the electoral process as politicians. We are usually concerned that Kenyans do not understand the role of political parties. We are concerned also that Kenyans do not understand the role of Kenyans who put themselves out there to be elected through political parties. Many of the time, as a country, we demonize politicians, we demonize political parties, yet as a democratic country like ours, there is no way you cannot have a government through a political process and through political parties. So the more we continue demonizing political parties and political leaders, the more we lose the meaning of the conditions that create a multi-party democracy. So the purpose of the sourcebook is to try to explain to the country and to Kenyans and to the political parties themselves what is a political party, how is a political party registered, what is the role of that political party, how that party should be managed, how people should participate in the process through a political party, and then how all the way do we go to embrace democracy and people who have put themselves there to be elected as leaders. One, we say that we must create a country where somebody is able to express his or her ideas without being gagged. But the person expressing ideas must also be responsible and accountable. And through this manual, we are bringing in that principles of good governance should include conscious consensus as people engage through the political process, accountability, participation, rule of law, effectiveness and efficient leadership, transparent and equitability and inclusion. That a good political party, whichever may take power, all get a person elected, should be able to protect systems that have been put in place and embrace institutions that have been established. and continue to establish institutions, because that is the mainstay of governance. So if we do not embrace an institution called political party, to start there, and then continue to institutionalize it, then we are missing the whole point of democracy. So we must, as a country, try as much as possible to try and embrace that. The other issue, the other booklet that we are launching together with us, with the support of NDI as a partner, is the quick guide on agents training. And it has a manual. The quick guide has a manual, Elections Agent Manual 2022. This is a revised edition of the Elections Manual 2017. That's why we are not launching it. This is a review of what was there. But then putting the current trends and any change of law that have taken place. So with these two documents, we expect to start out the rolling of training of agents. Probably towards the end of this week, going all the way maybe up to 30th of this month. The office will embark on the training of agents across the country, especially training of trainers. We may not train all the agents, and we recognize the efforts that is being put by political parties to organize and train their agents. So with this material, which we shall be giving to political parties also, and also using it in our trainings, we expect that the role of the agent in the political process shall be clarified. We have seen the observer groups being very well organized, and we want to see the agents, these particular elections, being better organized by you, political parties, and also assisted by ourselves, so that the role of agents will not be gainsaid in this particular election. Agents are very important in an electoral process because they are the only interested observers. The other observers are observers who cannot be partisan in any way. But agents are the only observers who are allowed to be partisan in a process, because you are partisan, because you are protecting the rights of your own party. So I request this time round, political parties, kindly select agents carefully. We are giving this quick guide to help you even in the selection of your agents. One of the most important facts to select an agent is loyalty. Loyalty to the political party, loyalty to the political process, and believing in the ideas of that political party. So that then any party should select people who are their members. Because if you select people who are not loyal to you, then they are not going to support your party and the process at the polling station. We have seen people who have gone to the stations and sometimes even left the stations unattended because of lack of loyalty. So kindly let us look through how we select our agents, because loyalty comes first, and loyalty to the party and loyalty to the process. The source book, we are looking forward. We may not use this particular time in a great deal, though there are some elements of it we shall use in the agents training, but we are looking forward to institutionalizing the political parties and the political processes going forward. But one issue I want to really emphasize in the source book, especially this period, and Mr. Ali has mentioned part of the chapters, it's managing elections results. We can have a peaceful process, and I want to repeat here, because we are all Kenyans. We were here when we were voting 2007. And everybody voted, and after that we thought that it's okay. Voting day was okay, but managing election results is what became critical to us. In this chapter in political education, we are really talking about managing election results. And it's all of us. We cannot say managing election results is for the Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission has its purpose and its part, but all of us, whether we are political parties whether we are candidates, whether we are civil societies and other duty bearers, we have an obligation to make sure that after elections, we have managed ourselves as a people, and in spite of our different opinions, we have one nation after election. And we are saying it is good to lose and win, and it is important to know that out of the 16,000 candidates put out there, at least 14,000 will be jobless and will lose in the next election. That is the reality that every candidate and every party should address. How are you prepared to handle that lose or win? So that the 14,000, if everybody says that, all the 14,000 say that election was stolen, then exactly who was supposed to win the election? I think we have to look at mindset and the mindset of the people, so that even when we are campaigning and when political parties are engaging their supporters, they give that possibility of losing and winning, so that we are prepared to make our country better. So it is important. In this book, we are talking about seeking for counseling services. Election is always an overwhelming activity. And sometimes people lose money in the process of trying to be elected. Others put so much emotion in it. It's an emotional activity. So we are recommending that should you find yourself in the receiving end, either as a winner or a loser, you may require service counseling services. How you deal even with the win? By the way, there are people who win, instead of settling, they actually make the country even worse. There are people who lose, they make it worse. So it is important to gear ourselves towards that, so that we are not overwhelmed. I want to finish by saying that we are cognizant that as a country we have traveled a journey in the political process, in the political party. And I'm glad today that we have a guest, a chief guest, who recently launched a book entitled Power, Politics, and the Law. And that's why he was the best choice to come and grace this occasion of the launch. Because there's a relationship between power, politics, and the law. And I want to say the question of the law is that if a country must succeed, they must be geared towards the rule of law. Because that is what makes the country to develop to the next level. As a country, the evolution of political parties have come a long way. Currently, we have 89 registered political parties, one of them being a coalition political party. That makes it 90 political party. Is the number too low or too high? That's a question this country must continue answering. But to me, as the registrar of political parties, the minute you put Article 4.2 of the Constitution that Kenya is a multi-party democracy, then democracy should be allowed to thrive. But thriving within the law. And that's why we have put very stringent legal process for you to register a political party. For you to register Kenyans as members of political party, you must get their consent to belong to your political party. You must then establish a party as an institution. Currently, as the law starts, it takes about 9 months for you to be able to register a political party, but it takes much longer depending on how you are doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, governance should be geared towards inclusion and allowing political party to be a vehicle where Kenyans can express their opinions and have opinions and options, So as we launch this manual today, we want to put a responsibility on people who are managing political parties and political processes today, that we have a duty to ensure that we leave this country better than we found it, and we hand it over to the next generation better than we found it. We have children in this country who are looking at us. They should be adults. They learn from us. We have unborn. They'll still be looking at us, what we did in our generation. We have animals and plants who rely on us, the human being, on how we behave for their survival. So as we celebrate democracy, let's work within the restraints of the law. And with that, before I invite the guest of honor, allow me to recognize the contributors of this manual. And I want to invite the people, our consultants, who really supported us in developing this together with us. I can see Baraza there. Just come over. I can see Wajiro Kako. I have seen Wajiro Kako somewhere. Just come over, Wajiro. I had seen, well, we have another gentleman called Charles Baima who is not here with us. I want us to clap for this lady and gentlemen for even putting our thoughts together. We, Mr. Ali, myself, Ron and Miriam, who is not here, were part of the team that was developing the material, and allow me to recognize our training manager, Anastasia Cabrera, who can also come here and clap for her. She was the program coordinator to make sure that the book has been written and the materials have been harnessed. We singularly recognize you, Anastasia Cabrera, for the good work of coordinating the program. And allow me to recognize all the ORPP staff who are here, who are very instrumental in driving the agenda. Where are ORPP staff for your guest of honor to see? The ones who are here? Yeah, you have quite a number who are here. Thank you so much. That is a great team that has been working. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate the good work that you have done. Thank you very much. That is the team that we have been working with. Guest of honor, the Office of Registrar of Political Parties have about 100 staff. Currently, it has a presence in 12 counties now. Though 5 of them have not been the staff, that have been given the resources by the state to establish another 5. We have the one that are in post with staff and about 7. They are actually 7. We are growing. We have established another 5, but we have not been able to post them. Probably we shall post them immediately after elections. So with those very many remarks, I want to now, with great honor, invite our guest of honor, Professor A.G. Emeritus, Professor Gedu Moigai, a scholar and also a very serious person in issues of governance. I read your every article, Professor, and I know you are passionate about good governance. So welcome very much. Allow us to come for the guest of honor and to come to address us. The coffee, and after that, he's going to help us launch. And as he comes, I want to recognize the presence of all faith-based institutions represented here, and specific, we have NCCK also here. Thank you very much for being here. Karibu sana.
Madam Anne Derito, Registrar of Political Parties, allow me to follow the protocol set by previous speakers and recognize all of you who came for this occasion. ladies and gentlemen, I was not able to tell why the registrar spent a whole week trying to reach me, my associate, Mr. Manager, and until yesterday, I have not been able to confirm that I will be able to come. We were locked up in a complex matter relating to a very county pensions. Luckily, we were able to get out of that this morning, and I'm happy to be here. I want to thank Madam Judicial and her team for considering me as a speaker in this space over the last 4 years, and have been doing other things, mostly trying to record what I saw in the long period that I was involved in writing the Constitution. Like they keep saying, watch out what you pray for. I wrote the Constitution, or we wrote the Constitution, and then I wish I was part of its implementation. And lo and behold, it happened, and that was an experience. I am a historian of where we have come from, and partly my book is a chronology of the struggles that have brought us to where we are today. I know that sometimes when we praise ourselves for what we have achieved, we sound like apologists. We sound like people saying there is nothing more to be done. Not true. The truth is that we've come a very, very long way. And if we do not recognize that, we will not make the progress that we wanted to do. Let me give you two small examples. This office that is now a huge office, the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. 40 years ago, it did not exist for very good reason. Political parties were put together with cooperative societies, with funeral societies, with churches and religious organizations, and a million other things in a very small cubicle that was run by an officer called the Registrar of Societies. So whether you wanted to be a political party or a church or you wanted anything else, you would be in the same. It's taken a long struggle to create the autonomy, the independence, and above all else, the political neutrality of the Registrar of Political Parties. This is very important. We assume it, but it is absolutely important. Our democracy is founded on a very important that we never talk about, but we should talk about more. The political neutrality of the public service. That is very critical. And that is why we work so hard to create this office of the Registrar of Political Parties. This much, sometimes we don't appreciate IEBC as much as we should. But let me tell you, and not because they have been my clients from time to time, when they have wanted to articulate some issues in the Supreme Court. IEBC is such an important institution given our history. And I can tell you this because there are many young people in this room. I get very concerned sometimes, especially through this season. I have met young people who have told me, I don't know whether I want to vote. Now, all I have said to them is, I have voted every time since I was 18, and I always didn't vote for the candidate who won, but I am still voting. If at 35 you have no reason to vote, then my generation must take responsibility for not bringing you up in the correct way. Voting is everything. Voting is everything. If you don't vote, then you are saying, I don't care. And if I don't care, then one day you really, really will care. Like management gurus teach us, if you don't plan, you have planned. You have planned for it. In the old days, the election was carried out from the Attorney General's office. Can you believe that? The election was carried out from the Attorney General's office. There was an officer there called the Director of Elections. Initially, he was a man called Mr. Montgomery. After he left, I think it was a Mr. Nyarongo or Nyarongo. To come from that situation 50 years ago, where Montgomery is not conducting the election, it is being conducted by the PC, the DC, and the DO on his behalf. Possible to say we have not made progress. We have. Yet, because we have made so much progress, we must be so vigilant not to slide back and lose the institutions we have made. That is why I was very privileged when I was asked to come and help to launch the political education source book and other training materials, because I thought that this is one way that we will continue the struggle to strengthen the political party. I know we keep saying the family is the most important unit of the society. The political party is the most important unit of the political system. And we must strengthen it and protect it the same way we seek to protect the family as the most important center of our social life. We've come a long way with political parties. I was joking with the registrar earlier. I come from Kiambu, and no matter which direction you choose to head towards Kiambu, you will very quickly discover that every home has their own church, plus or minus. I challenge you to take the route to Banana Hill in that direction, and you will find not less than 70 churches in a 70-mile, in a 10-mile radius. And when I was the attorney of the Republic, I thought that we should do something about it. And, the rest is history. So I do not know whether we need to do something about the number of political parties that we have, so that we consolidate them and make them more effective. In Nigeria, a country slightly different from ours, but sometimes visited by the same challenges as ourselves. I think when the political parties reached 900 or thereabouts, in the new constitution they made, they say there will only be 3 political parties, and they put them in the constitution. So you weigh your politics and find the one closest to you and get into it. I don't think we want to do that in Kenya, but I think it is important that we should have a consolidation process. I know that that is happening through the coalitions, and I think it is great brilliance on your part that you are able to recognize that if we do not accommodate coalitions, we encourage further fragmentation, and our politics would be more shambolic without coalitions. So I think that you have done a very, very good thing by allowing that. I think the management of the political parties fund is an important issue. Needless to say, money and politics make very, very bad bedfellows, and therefore, all over the world, there is a concern about how money and politics are regulated. We haven't yet reached there here. We haven't the political consensus around it, but I am happy to know that you are concerned about a framework around that issue, and going forward, we will be seeing some action. Last but not least, the media. I was live on the ground in 2007, 2008, and the aftermath, and made my way all the way to The Hague. And I can tell you this, as a person who had a ringside view on history, we must be very careful what we transmit by radio, by television, by social media, and so on. Because when the dominoes begin to fall, it is very, very difficult to put the country back. I get very concerned when the media elite begin to delegitimize state institutions. And you delegitimize state institutions by slowly beginning to create a doubt, not on evidence, but on hearsay. That is it possible that the registrar of political parties is not acting in a neutral manner, and then the narrative begins. And then you go to IEBC, then you go to the political parties tribunal, you say most of the clerks come from Kiambu, and so on and so forth. These are very dangerous steps in the wrong direction. We must have some measure of trust in public institutions. We must trust judges. We cannot have a situation where we delegitimize the judiciary ahead of the contest. So it is my very humble plea to all of us involved here today, just like you have come out in large numbers to support the registrar of political parties, let us support the entire chain. This chain, if one part of this chain is broken, this entire electoral process is broken. So we must work with the Electoral Commission. We must act with the disputes tribunal. We must work with the judiciary. We must act with everybody who is making this possible. And as Madam Registrar has said, I'd like to end with her words. We must remind ourselves that there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. And we need, after the election is over, for the rest of us to go home and do what we do, and to leave the lawyers like myself to sort out any dispute that may be left in the courts. So, by way of parting and describe your team, thank you very much for this effort, for your confidence in Kenya, for your confidence in politicians. You made a very good point. I think my sister there made a very good point. If we begin to ridicule our politicians, yet this country will only be run by politicians, what kind of culture are we creating? We must accord politicians and politics the respect that requires. And that is why all over the world, the politician is a statesman because his country stands behind him or her. If his country ridicules him as a petty thief or a criminal or a person living an immoral and unethical life, then that is a recipe for disaster. That is what our children will take home. That is what the next generation will take home. That is not what we want. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's give another big round of applause to the Honorable General Emeritus, Professor Judicial. Asante sana, and I just want to launch the book, or rather the publication that we're launching today, and I want to invite the chief guest together with Madam Miritu, together with Munisaidie tafadhali. Hans Zaide Foundation, country representative. Those three are enough. Of course, with Ali, and then I will invite NCIC to stand on the side, and political parties. So tafadhali NDI watasimama hapo. Nani mwingine mwalimu Biwat? I am at your service. Students. Whom you've been called, please. Let's take that direction. So we will have, I know we will all have stand up and celebrate the moment, ladies and gentlemen. We will have Madam Lurich on the other side, the chief guest on this other side, and then the other guests can line up on either side of the of Madam Registrar and our chief guest. So once we are ready, you'll be handed the season, some upper, sorry? Sorry, just say that again, media. What they clear the path. So, are you okay? Nani watoke hapa? I'll ask that we go to the other side so that the media can have a clear sound. Let's go to the other side. Stand. Onward, go to the other side so that we have the media. So media, just indulge me in this, please. Just try to get the best shot that you can, please. Are we good? Yes. Okay. Sawa. So, and then let's present the Caesars. Bibi na mabwana wanayopewa pale ni makasi. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite the chief guest, Professor Mugai, to cut the tape. Wapi makofi, yeah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody gets the move. All right. We have launched. I will take photographs. All right.
control the group in a good way so that we take photographs. Thank you. Wapi vigelegele? Wapi vigelegele? Kenya's political leadership resource group has been launched. Hey, makofi for that here too. All right. You can dance a bit, you can shake a bit. All right. Now, all right, DJ Keynote. Now I want the chief guests and madam and all our guests here to come up on stage so that we take the photograph, so that we have a better photograph here. If I may have ORPP staff to move the banners, please to come behind, just on this side so that we have, this is better. We could have you in the middle, two of you, hapa katikati, alafu sisi wengine tafadhali njoo, wengine kuja upande huu. The banners, please let's move the banners. Let's move the banners too. Let's balance then come to this side. Wambua, we like your height. Thank you. All right, let's have Mr. Kibwe hapa. Jojo, soma mbele tafadhali. Let's set the banners. Thank you. Are we good? Kamata kitabu mbele. All right, DJ tuachie muziki kidogo. We can smile. We can smile. Thank you. All right, just a moment. Just a moment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me remain with the representative from, let me get my name right. Daniel Saivali, please, and Madam and Professor here. So we're gonna hand gifts to Professor. First of all, we start with Mr. Daniel. Please hand over the gifts. Just all this for you, Professor. All right. Thank you. And then, let me hold it. Anapewa zawadi. You are no longer state officer, so you don't have to. All right. Asante sana. Okay. Thank you very much. Asante sana wabibi na mabwana. Thank you very much. The next part of my program is a vote of thanks from Madam Anastasia Caperera. Please, if you may make your way to the stage. Santini, you've been a very wonderful audience. You get the vote of thanks, and then we will wind up with some training manager.
Thank you very much, MC. Our chief guest, Professor Kito Muigai, Assistant Registrar of Political Parties, Madam Angelito, Assistant Registrar, our esteemed partners and partner and sponsor of today's event, Hansdale Foundation, led by Representative Daniel Simbare. Our other invited distinguished partners, the lead development team, political parties leadership present, ORPP staff present, HSF staff, members of the Lounge Organizing Committee, all invited guests, media houses present, ladies and gentlemen, protocols observed. It is my singular privilege and honor to move a vote of thanks in today's launch of the Kenya Political Education Sourcebook event on behalf of ORPP. Distinguished guests, ORPP is indebted to several institutions and individuals that contributed to the development of the Kenya Education Sourcebook, and ORPP chose to walk the long journey with others rather than walk alone faster. So we decided to walk with others, and it has been a great honor. And we want to thank our mighty Lord for this far that He has brought us. To our chief guest, Professor Guido Muigai, I wish to extend our gratitude and much appreciation for honoring our invite amidst your busy schedule to grace our occasion, and we deeply appreciate it. Together with that, I have also learned a word of wisdom from your remarks that we should not feel stuck as a country. We have made progress and we are going far. Thank you very much for the sharing of that word of wisdom. Sincere appreciation also goes to Sincere Foundation for their technical support during the entire development process. We must say we are greatly honored to have you as one of our valuable partners. Thank you very much. To our distinguished partners present, we deeply appreciate your continued collaboration and support, which have made us as an office, as an organization, to learn valuable lessons which have led to our continuous improvement in our quest to be a model regulator of political parties for credible democratic multi-party system, and we appreciate that the role that you play in our development. Special recognition also goes to the lead development team, whose role in writing and putting the materials together was instrumental in development of the sourcebook. We extend our deep appreciation. Special thanks also goes to our registrar, who is our visionary leader at the ORPP, and her able assistants, whose role in the coordinating of the writing project went a long way in making the project successful. Thank you very much for your role. Distinguished mention also and appreciation goes to the ORPP staff, IBC election trainers, the editor, and their invaluable contribution to the development and finalization of the sourcebook will not be complete without your role and your contribution. Not forgetting our valuable key stakeholder, the political party leadership represented here. Thank you very much for your input and feedback. It went a long way in making the project realizable. Through your participation in the organized program that we held, you came and participated, gave us feedback and input, which went a long way in the development of the book. Thank you very much. Sincere thanks also is extended to the event organizing committee, who have worked tirelessly to put up everything together for this day to be a success. Your efforts are very much appreciated. I also like to convey our gratitude to our invited guests and media houses present for gracing our occasion. We thank you for your presence. To the hotel personnel, thank you for working closely with the team that was putting up this event together and being part of this memorable occasion. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. The best and the most beautiful thing in the world is not seen and not touched. They must be felt by the heart. Thank you is one of such a prayer. Thank you for your continued support and collaboration and for honoring our invite. May God bless you.
Thank you. Did you hear her thank the MC? So I will thank the MC. Thank you. Good job. All right. Thank you. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the end of our event. I believe we have to start, right?
lunch is served, so don't go away without eating. It is not in the program, but so we can break for lunch. We can have somebody pray for lunch as we go out. I don't know who that will be. Yes, please come. So finish off with the prayer and a prayer for lunch. Thank you once again, Asante.
Thank you so much. My name is Lillian from Kenya National Congress. I lead the Women League and I appreciate so much the registrar for making sure that 15.2 is talking about violence against women. And I know that part is the institution led by Judy, Miss Judy, and Dr. Ocharo. You'll pick it up and make sure that there is a central point for bringing these issues to the right attention. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. If we could rise up and pray. Let's begin and pray. Everlasting Father in heaven, we thank you so much for the gift of life. We thank you for peace that our country is experiencing. We also thank you for the fact that you brought us together to deliberate on issues that concern this country. How we ask that you give us the impetus to effect them, and most importantly, sustain this peace in the days to come. As we depart, let us depart in peace and keep us well. As our prayer in Jesus' name.
Bon appetit. Thank you very much.
Tunamaliza video. Kama heshima.
Many are lucky. Oh, yeah. Like guys.
Mbele peke yake. Juma. Na hiyo Juma kwanza tunafinyana tusiwe wanyonge. Acha nimalize. Baba anatupatia ipate tunafanya. Baba anatupatia basi. Kami napeana na kemenyano. Yes, she's the constituency monitor, for example. Oh, yes. That's
Niende live.
ndio ma social media gurus.
Nimetutesa hapa hata.
Alafu natupeleka live and event inaisha.